Welcome back to Hockey Talks. I am Carl, that is Dave. Tonight we got a lot to go through. We actually have a lot of topics on hand. We'll see if we can get through all of them tonight.
We'll see.
But let's start with the biggest news right now with the World Juniors going on right now. The tournament happens every year around Christmas time, New Year's. So a big tournament happens all around the world, right? Everybody loves to tune into stuff like that. But The biggest news coming in out of that is Canada. Usually one of the top tier teams along with the United States, right? And you can put Finland in there and maybe Sweden as well. But Canada playing Latvia the other night, they lose to Latvia in a shootout.
Yeah.
There was just a big uproar of responses that came in about Canada actually losing to them. I figured that there was no way that
Is that the first time they've ever lost to Latvia?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first time they've ever lost to Latvia. Latvia is usually not a team to give them a problem, although they have been picking it up. They made the quarterfinals last year,
Yeah.
right? But they haven't had much success with that hockey. But Canada, for some reason, had a lot of issues going into this game. And losing to Latvia just kind of put a spin on everything in this World Junior. Like, it had a major impact.
Well, I guess what's your thoughts on it? What I mean by that is I believe they lost in a shootout.
They did lose in a shootout, yeah.
So, and it was down to the last shooter, and he got the puck in the net. Yeah. And that counts as a win for them, which is awesome. It's in the preliminaries.
So, how to break this all down, if you get a win in regulation, you get 3 points, and the loser gets nothing. If you go into overtime in a shootout, if you win, you only get 2 points.
And the other team gets a point?
The team gets a point.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So if you win in regulation, you get 3. If you win in overtime or shootout or anything, it's only 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts also, but they didn't lose in either, so they got 1 point. So that would give the other teams, mainly United States, to get ahead of them. But they have been losing too. They've lost to Finland as well, and they have had their struggles as well. But they have a big game facing against each other on New Year's Eve. So we'll
nice.
see how that plays out.
Tune into that one.
Yeah, and that'll determine who comes in the first place in the A grouping.
Yeah.
So that put a whole big spin on anything.
Well,
on everything.
And that's what I was getting at there is sure they lost in overtime.
Yeah.
Can't deny that. It is a preliminary game. So I'm just thinking of what the guys are feeling, on the team.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's a preliminary game. Yeah, the other team came back. Canada was winning and Latvia came back? Is that how it went? Yeah. So the other team came back and he lost in a shootout.
Yeah.
Well, I, for one, don't really worry about shootout losses as much as regulation losses. It usually takes a lot more to get a goal when you're actually playing hockey over top of just shooting on a goalie. Obviously, it's hard to score on a goalie, but I mean, it's in my eyes. There's a reason why it's not 3 points. It's 2 points. Is because it's not as you have an automatic close to the game.
Yeah.
Over top of playing it out against a team who wants the game as much as you, and seeing who wins that way. So that's the only way in Canada's corner. I would say I'm not too worried about it. Is because you give them a little bit more time, and they would have cleared them out in overtime. But that being said, it's great for Latvia. And if anything, if I am Canada and if I am the team, I think it's kind of a reawakening kind of thing. Like, you guys got to start playing, right?
Yeah, you can't take anything for granted. Yeah. Even if you look at a team like Latvia, right, who's trying to make their statement in hockey, right, in the world stage, and they've had a hard time doing it. They've come a lot of great young players who are up and coming for the next few years, especially, right? A lot of young guys on that team who they have ready for the following year, and they're getting the team built. And they are starting to make some moves here, right? Mm-hmm. They played some solid games. They played against Canada. Canada had a really tough time getting anything to the net, right? Yeah. Blocking shots, and they had 50.
I seen some blocks. Yeah, the one guy saved it with his leg, the back of his leg.
Yeah, they were just
insane,
stopping everything. And the goalie played phenomenal. Yeah. He's made 53 saves in regulation. Yeah. Right? 53, and he didn't allow a single goal in the shootout through 8 rounds.
But yet again, that's kind of my point is, a goalie can stay hot like that, but if you keep peppering him with shots, if in an unlimited overtime, eventually one's going to pop.
Eventually one's going to go,
And the same thing could go the other way. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those where I think it would be an automatic Canada win.
No.
But I'm just saying, as fatigue goes on, I tend to favor Canadians.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're the stronger team. They're heavy favorites to win, right? And they did not.
They say, just real quick, as they say, it takes luck to have skill, and it takes skill to have luck.
Yeah.
And it's, the longer the game goes on, is really going to define the skillful goaltenders from the ones that maybe are getting a little bit more luck. Like, it's kind of a scale. Yeah. And I usually think that Canadians over top of Latvians maybe have better hockey experience, and that's where I draw the line for myself anyways.
Yeah, the power play was definitely not doing anything for the Canadians.
Yeah.
They struggled on that power play. They can't seem to figure it out. They're just all over the place, no structure. Give a lot of credit to the Latvian team.
Yeah, absolutely.
They played their hearts out, right? They blocked, they stood in every front of everything. They just worked, and that paid off in the end.
They got that preliminary win.
Yep, there you go. They're coming up there, right? It's a team to maybe start keeping an eye on and not take so lightly, right? They made a lot of close games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, my personal opinion is that they just caught us off guard.
Yeah. Well, especially that, right?
You know what? When it comes, I don't want to discount Latvia. Great for you guys. But when it comes push to shove, let me see it in the playoff rounds or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to move on though. One thing I want to bring up: Toronto Maple Leafs again without Auston Matthews. He's been out injured the last few games. There's no timetable when he's going to be back. We heard the other day that he is starting to practice with the team, but still no disclosure on what injury he has or what he's dealing with. I heard it was something similar to what he was dealing with before that kept him out for so long and made him go to Germany. But he's starting to practice again. Is it the right time for him to return? The Leafs are doing good. They're first in the division.
They're doing all right. Now. Yeah, they're first in the division. 6-4, I believe, last 10.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. I would personally prefer seeing Matthews just take a few weeks, get him rested up.
Yeah,
and maybe play some light games, not as many minutes. And play it out from there rather than playing via full time and injuring yourself again.
Yeah.
Because the next time he injures himself, if it's January, February, it's gonna be for a while.
Yeah, close to playoffs too, right?
You gotta start to prep yourself for that.
Right? As we know, the Leafs are gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's pretty sure unless they go completely south from here on.
Yeah.
Then it's we'll see if there's a city left after that. But if they holds off and make sure he's ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best case.
Absolutely.
There's no need to rush back. The Leafs are doing okay without him.
Yeah.
Right? They got good goaltending. Plus Matt Murray came back from back to the NHL. He's been out for a long time. Wasn't sure if he was ever going to come back. And he's been playing great for them.
Yeah.
Right? So it's good to have that relief in goaltending and have a solid goaltender, especially with Wall in that as well, and Stolarz, right? So you got some good goaltending behind you now.
Yeah.
So now's the time to make it happen. Even though you have Auston Matthews out, make sure he's healthy and ready to go from playoffs.
Yeah, the nice thing about him is he's one of those high danger shot players. And now what a high danger shot is every shot gets ranked between 1 and 3 based on if it's in a high goal scoring area of the ice. But it's actually pretty interesting because if a shot gets shot and blocked or misses the net or saved, like a rebound, if you shoot within 3 seconds of that again, it gains another point. And if it's a block shot, it actually loses a point. So that's kind of how they rank those high danger shots. Matthews is one of those players. What they actually did, it leads me to a question. There's a top 10 list, and with obviously 10 players on there, all coming from different teams. So I got to ask you, Carl, on that top 10 list of most high danger shots per 60 minutes or per game, what teams do you think are involved in this? In that top 10 list.
Top 10 of high
obviously,
danger shots.
we just went over Matthews, so Toronto Maple Leafs would be one.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
I'd have to say probably the Edmonton Oilers.
No.
No, they're not in that list, eh?
No.
High danger shots.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Penguins?
Nope.
No.
I'll give you a hint, though.
Okay.
The bottom one is Colorado, and it's McKinnon.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
That's the bottom one. Okay.
Yeah.
Rounds out the 10. Well, right now, let's say New Jersey.
Yes, and they actually have 5.
5. Okay.
They have 5 out of the 10 high danger zone shots.
Wow. Okay.
Which is like nobody else on this list is even close.
Yeah.
So can you guess? I'll give you one more.
Let's throw Tampa in there.
Not Tampa. No.
Not Tampa.
The other ones is the Leafs. They actually have a few. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And Florida and Washington. Washington with Ovechkin. Florida with what's that guy's name on Florida Panthers? Yeah, with Kachuk.
Yeah.
And then Colorado taking the last position. Right. But I think it's very interesting because you're seeing New Jersey Devils where they have 5 of the 10 on the list, and means that they shoot in high danger zones much more than anybody else. And there's a couple of players up there that aren't even really stars. Three out of the list is Toronto Maple Leafs, which just show how offensive those two teams are. And the coach transitioning from Toronto to New Jersey is going to a place, whether they're offensive because of him or whether it's just an offensive team and Keefe jives with that kind of play. Yep. It'll be very interesting. I think New Jersey Devils have a very good future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like we've talked about a few times, New Jersey, they have a lot of guys that are right there, right? Yeah. I mean, just young guys.
Waiting to bust out,
right? Yeah. A whole bunch of them on that team. And then with Sheldon Keefe at the helm, that team's going to be very dangerous. And they're already proving it this year. They're top in their conference as well, right? Top in the East, actually. The Eastern Conference. So, yeah, it's a team to watch out for. Definitely high danger chances, especially, and the Leafs too. Like, it's going to be quite the matchup between those two.
Well, and one guy that I'm super surprised is still on that list is Ovechkin himself.
Yeah.
At his age, how is that even possible?
I know. Yeah, Ovechkin too, right? He's 38, I think, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
He just returned back from injury against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And scored in his first game back. Mind you, it was an empty net goal, but
it still counts.
He continues on his hunt for the most goals scored in the NHL history. So, he first scored in his first game back. Looked really good. Had quite a few shots. He played just like he's always played. And then he scored in the second game back, too. So, which puts him 24 behind Wayne Gretzky's record. Yeah. You still think he's going to make it this year?
I don't know. I think there's enough time. If you kind of divide the season in half and say 24 goals left to go, that would be a 48-goal season, 48, 50-goal season. So I think it's very doable still. It's just, the closer it gets to the end, I can't see it being the fastest. But with Ovechkin, you never really know. Maybe he just wants to get it done and call it.
No, part of me thinks he wants to just get it done and over with. Right? Yeah. Because he's going to break it eventually. Yeah. And he wants to break it. I think that's definitely something he wants to do.
Yeah. But, I can't see him not wanting to do that.
Yeah. A lot of the guys, they don't want to focus on that. They're focused on anything else, winning cups. But he's won a cup now. Yeah. So, I mean, you may as well go for that record.
Absolutely.
You're so close. And definitely, if not this year, next year. I still think it's going to be next year. But
who knows?
Pretty
what if it happens during the playoffs?
No, okay. Do the playoffs count? Yes.
Yeah, they would.
They would count.
Yeah, because it's games that you play.
Games you play. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So that could be, and they look.
That
like
might get the extra games.
Yeah. There's a good chance he is. I still think that it's going to be close. That he won't quite break it this year.
Yeah.
But 24, it seems like a pretty close
it's pretty
number
doable.
When you look at it, right? A pretty close number, especially coming back from injury, right? We were wondering how he was going to fare.
It's only 8 hat tricks.
It's only 8 hat tricks. Hey, there you go. Get it done in 8 games. Yeah, but he's looking pretty good from coming off of injury.
Yeah.
Another guy that's been out and injured. Well, kind of injured. He's been dealing with an illness, right? Jonathan Toews, former captain of the Chicago Blackhawks for many, many years. He's won 3 Stanley Cups with them. He was an icon in the Chicago area, right? Played with Patrick Kane for all those years, right? Brent Seabrook, Duncan Keith. Yeah, he's been a staple in Chicago. Announced that he may make a potential return to the NHL after he has been gone since last game he played was April 13th in 2023. He left due to he's dealing with a chronic immune response syndrome. I'm not exactly sure what that entails. Plus, long COVID is what he also said, right?
I think it would probably be something to do with like your immune system attacking itself, kind of like autoimmune or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Because that's kind of ties hand in hand with long COVID, unfortunately.
Yeah, but he mentioned that he wants to return. He would love to. He doesn't think his career is done. He doesn't exactly know where he's going to be or how it's going to go, but he's eyeing a return to the NHL, which would be great to see.
That'd be exciting.
I would love to see him come back and play some more years.
Yeah.
So he's a fun player to watch, right? But we'll see. Keep an eye on that, see what happens. He's still trying to deal with stuff and figure stuff out. But yeah, he just announced that he wants to return to the NHL.
Nice.
So hopefully that could happen for him, right?
Yeah.
But moving on to some other news that happened around the NHL over the Christmas break. The Red Wings have fired the head coach, Derek Lalonde. He's been the head coach for, I want to say 5-6 years. Probably something like that now. The Red Wings haven't been doing great. They thought they were going to be doing a lot better this year, right? They made a push. I believe it was last year they made a push. They just fell out of the playoff spot last year.
Yeah.
But they have been not a great team this year. And so they really let Derek Lalonde go, and in his place have hired Todd McClellan.
Nice.
To take over.
That's a good
head coaching duties. Yeah, he's a well-known coach, man. He's coached the Oilers. He's brought the Kings to Stanley Cups. He'll be a very good fit in that organization.
Yeah.
So wish him all the best and see if the Red Wings can get out of the basement.
Yes, that'd be nice.
They still got some time. So see what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We'll go from there. You want to bring up Florida Panthers a little bit? Yeah,
well, a couple weeks ago, actually, on this podcast, we kind of made a bet. There was a game going that night that was Florida against Edmonton. And they made a big thing out of it, saying it's the Stanley Cup Finals all over again, and I thought it was a great opportunity. Florida before that was in a bit of a slump, and it was like if they can win, if they can beat Edmonton Oilers so that they can win, then maybe that'll get them out of their slump because they'll kind of remember how to play hockey again.
Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, they were actually losing until maybe 5 minutes left in the third period, and they got a goal, and I think they won it in overtime. And since then, they've been playing absolutely phenomenally. And they're actually tied currently today for number one in their division with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah. So I just want to say 1 David and 0 Carl.
So I actually forgot about that, but thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, I don't forget about that.
Yeah, you don't forget. Well, Panthers were on such a low before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess I should have. Edmonton, I mean, they're very hit and miss too, right?
Well, all it takes is playing an overhyped team,
Just there you go, Oilers fans.
I'm playing.
Overhyped. We'll see if they make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
But Florida Panthers, are they once again Cup contenders?
I think absolutely. Once you have that experience, I mean, that's my own opinion, but once you have that experience, you kind of see how it doesn't matter where you lay in the playoffs. It's going to be a battle to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So you can play hard in the first little bit, ease off a little bit, and then kind of play hard again and get yourself in a good position for it. Obviously, it would be nice to end up not in a wild card spot.
Yeah.
But once you can trickle into the playoffs, they know it's going to be a long, hard battle.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I think with that experience, they're definite Cup contenders.
They look pretty sharp again, right?
Yeah.
They're coming all together at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
They had that little lull for a little while, but every team does go through that.
Yep.
Absolutely. But yeah, they look like a strong team. Strong team, definitely going to go deep into the playoffs again.
Yeah.
This year.
And I think that's something to remember is when you get in there, it doesn't matter if you're the first versus the 8th or what order it is. Every single series is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you do get in there, that experience is what comes in handy. The playing playoff hockey, scoring playoff goals.
It's an incredibly different feel.
Yeah.
When you get in, it's just so much more intensity, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's a lot of fun to watch. But I can't wait till those playoffs start. I know it's another almost half a season yet, but just talking about it gets me revved up for the playoffs of 2025.
Yeah.
Thanks again. That's all the time we got for tonight. Thanks again. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
We look forward to talking to you for the brand new year and the last half of the season of the NHL. And the remainder of the World Juniors.
Oh, yes.
And maybe we'll get some WHL action here in the next few weeks as well. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful night.
Sayonara.